They chant no more corrupt government. A key demand of the anti-government protesters is an end to decades of crooked politicians. Since the US-led occupation and invasion of Iraq in 2003, corruption watchdog Transparency International says $450 billion has gone missing. Former MP Rahim Daraji is now an anti-corruption campaigner.
The corruption floodgates opened in 2006 when the Maliki government replaced the Jafari government. There was a law in place before 2006 where a committee had to approve all contracts above $5 million. Maliki changed that to $100 million. Individual ministries then began to approve contracts themselves.
A popular belief among many Iraqis is government departments are controlled by political parties who reward their supporters with jobs and contracts. The Interior Ministry made nationwide news earlier this year when details broke of a contract for 6,000 pickup trucks, each costing $35,000, when the marketplace price in Iraq was $14,000. The Interior Ministry said the contract was above board and handled with correct procedure. This former MP says there's no sector of Iraqi society that hasn't been touched by corruption.
The corruption infestation has affected this country, and I feel sorry for it. It's everywhere, public and private. It's become normal. It's really hard to eliminate this corruption. It needs to begin with judicial reform, and the rule of law needs to be enforced from high elected officials all the way down.
Successive governments have tried to combat fraud with various committees. In February this year, Prime Minister Adel Abdul-Mahdi set up the High Council for Combating Corruption, but that hasn't satisfied protesters who say politicians and others guilty of corruption need to be brought to justice. Iraq's the second largest oil exporter in the world, and the protesters are asking where that money goes. Now, in the wake of these protests, the government has announced that tackling corruption is one of the key issues it's going to look at. But whether... Somewhere in this crowd is Abu Hussein. He's 30 years old. This video was recorded on Friday in Sadr City, Baghdad. He decided to join the young people in his neighborhood after he saw them spontaneously protest. He's asked us to hide his identity because he was detained on the first day of the demonstrations. He says the Iraqi police made him delete videos from his phone and sign a declaration that he wouldn't take part in further demonstrations.
I decided to demonstrate because it's our legal right under the Constitution. We didn't demand that the government resign. It's been elected by the people, but we want an end to the corruption and provide justice to all Iraqis. Also, we want young people to get jobs, housing, and older people to get pensions. It's unfair that some politically connected people have jobs and others don't.
His words are echoed by people here at Mathanna Air Base. They're demanding jobs within Iraq's security forces. Prime Minister Adel Abdul-Mahdi has promised security jobs as part of planned reforms in the wake of these protests.
I came here at 4:30 a.m. to enroll. The guard told me to go home and play computer games. Is this how you treat someone who is looking for work?
It's not just Iraq's poor who want reform. Outside the Prime Minister's office, engineers are also demanding jobs and transparency.
We've been protesting for 90 days. If you don't have the ability to provide us with jobs, then why are we going to university? Why do we study so hard? You might as well close the colleges.
The Iraqi government insists it's working to improve the economic situation and has announced a set of potential reforms intended to tackle corruption and reduce unemployment. The government's under a tremendous amount of pressure, not just from civil society, but also from religious parties and the opposition.